Boom, guys! Listen, we're back. And today we're talking about overthinking, alright? But bear with me, guys. We're not going to be using the term overthinking too much. Let me tell you why in a second. But hey, let me see if this resonates with you, alright? If you're someone who feels you're thinking too much, maybe you're thinking about solving problems solving problems that don't even exist, alright? Complete bizarre scenarios that has no foundation in reality. Or maybe you are someone who have nightmares. All right, this is a good one, right? Maybe you recognize yourself in this. Maybe you have nightmares about scenarios that are completely, you don't know how they're stemming to it, but they still plague you in a way because you might feel that they have a sense and a root in reality, but they don't. All right, dreams are a completely different subject, though. They have no foundation in reality, really. Right? It's a part of your subconscious, but we can do another video on that, all right? Dream analyzing in general is a bad idea. And we'll talk more about like analytics and thinking too much in this video, right? But let's get back to the thing, like overthinking. Guys, you know this. I'm not a big fan of these labels, okay? I made a big video back in the past, a year ago, about introverts, right? Being an introvert, all this bullshit about being socially awkward. Oh, I'm an introvert, using it as an excuse. Guys, labels like this, it serves you no purpose. It serves no purpose. What purpose does it serve you? I'm gonna give you 2 seconds while I drink water. Right? I bet you found nothing. Because there is no, purpose to using this label and labeling yourself with this stuff. Not just for like introvert, but for overthinking. Overthink big deal. You are not an overthinker. You are not someone who needs therapy. You're not a patient. And we're gonna get back to this. I'm gonna tell you exactly why this is a superpower, right? Now, bear with me. I'm gonna, drift off into some subjects here, but there's a big red line to it. I'm gonna tell you at the end how you can solve this, all right? And it's not even an issue. I don't even want to say solve, right? Because it's not really a problem, but it can be, right? So it's like, bit this, bit that. But anyways, guys, I spent a lot of time in the military, right? So I want to tell you guys about how I know about this, because I'm someone that thinks way too much. But I have remedies for this, but I'm going to get back to. I spent a lot of time in the military. I spent 6 years there. And as a soldier, you learn to think of the worst case scenario in every single thing you do. You learn to prepare yourself for stuff that might happen, possibly could happen. And it might be the most bizarre stuff too. I went through a year of special forces training. And when you go through and you create plans for a mission, right? Especially in a smaller team, a smaller unit. You have a timeline, all right? Picture a timeline, and you set start of insertion, then you have infiltration, you have time on target and stuff like that, all these details, exfil and extraction, all right? So for all these parts, right? For all these scenarios that pop up along the way, we have something called what ifs, right? What ifs is huge, right? This is something I teach to entrepreneurs too, hosting events like stuff like that. Guys, if you're an entrepreneur and you're hosting masterminds and all this stuff, you need a what if list, okay? You need what ifs for every single thing. You need contingencies. You need a primary, secondary, all this stuff. You can learn this about survival and survival plans and all this stuff. But anyways, right? You learn about what ifs. And what ifs are essentially like a brainstorming with all the guys where you go over anything that could go wrong for that specific scenario, and you do this for everything. So insertion, right? We're walking to our target, and this is not just a military video, let me tell you. I'm just using it as an example because it's a very good example. You walk into a target, right? You walk into the woods, right? All tired, heavy backpacks, right? It doesn't matter, we look jacked as always. And when you're planning that, you're planning in the route that, we're going to take this route, and then it's like, what if? What if a lion jumps out of the bush and starts eating someone, right? You think of this shit. It's fucking nuts. I swear it's fucking nuts, right? You come up with all these scenarios and you spit them out. Brainstorming. What if suddenly the sun turns off or the sun explodes, right? I swear, okay, maybe a bit more precise than that. But you see what I'm getting at. You start thinking of all these scenarios that could happen, right? And now I've realized, I'm going to get back to this point too, that the reason I am someone who thinks a lot, I'm saying this to relate to you, is because I've been conditioned, I've been trained like a dog into doing this. This is what I am, this is what I do. I go on missions and I do missions and I perform to the best of my ability on those missions. This is what I do. This is my life. This is what I've been doing since I was 18, right? And it's not like, this is a completely different subject again, but it's not just, easy. And a lot of you guys, I know a few of you who watch this are ex-military too. It's not easy for everyone to go back to civilian life, where you're in a scenario where you have to think about every fucking thing that can possibly happen, and you go to a cereal aisle in a grocery store, and all you have to think of is which cereal to take, right? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make fucking sense, right? Your mind goes crazy. You go fucking crazy in mind, okay? Now, that's the way kind of like I've been, trained and conditioned into thinking this way, and maybe you have been too. Maybe you don't even have to be doing what I'm doing with the soldier stuff and stuff, but maybe you have that condition now where, it's not a condition, I fucking hate that word too, it's not no fucking patience here, we're fucking animals, right? But maybe you're someone who thinks that much, thinks about different stuff. And I want you to not think of yourself as a patient, okay? This, my friends, is a superpower, alright? Let me tell you, I said about ADHD too, that's fucking bullshit, alright? ADHD is a messed up thing, right? It's not real, it's fake. Anyone who can't focus in a classroom is not a patient, alright? It's not normal to sit down and listen to some 50-year-old out of shape pussy talk about how some old general did this and this, that, right? You'd just become the generals, right? People with ADHD, we want to become the generals. We want to become fighters, we want to do all this shit instead of listening to some old hag talk bullshit. That's completely normal, and it doesn't require any pills. Just like you don't require any pills for thinking too much, right? And I'm telling you, this is superpower, right? The reason we do this in the military, right, is so we can prepare for stuff that might happen. Now, you have this same way of thinking. You're thinking, what if, what if, what if, what if? My friend, you are so blessed. If you can harness this, right, because this might be the thing, maybe you haven't harnessed it, maybe you feel like, oh, I'm this, oh, I'm that, right? You haven't harnessed this. You can harness this. You can use this as a tool. There are certain individuals who can think of stuff that other people can't. And you might be one of them. You might be someone who sees different scenarios before they happen. You might be someone who sees the solutions before the problem even arrives. Have you ever thought of that? Well, let me be the first one to tell you, okay? So when people come to you for advice, or when you hear about things, right? You can already see how this plays out. Maybe that's you. Maybe that's why you're thinking of all this stuff, and it's plaguing you. And I want you to know that. You have a power here in the fact that you can see stuff that doesn't even exist, hasn't even happened. It's almost like being clairvoyant. But we have to control our minds. We have to. I'm going to tell you more about that. All right. Let me get some more of this water, okay? So, don't think of yourself as a patient. Think that you have a superpower. Now I'm going to tell you some of the cons of this, because this is a pro, right? We can see all this stuff. We can see how it happens. We can see how it plays out. We can see this course of actions and all that. Now I'm going to tell you why this is not like the downsides of this superpower. Right? Usually there's a con that comes with every superpower. Usually, right? Superman has kryptonite, right? He can't, touch that. So it's no problem, really. But the thing is that it hurts, and it hurts so much being someone who thinks too much. This is why I plead with the thinkers. This is why I say to take action on stuff, because I know that this is the way to free yourself from your mind. Thinking about those angles can hurt you, and it can hurt you a lot. In the sense that you can see scenarios that are so painful, and you can see courses of actions that you rather not take, but it's so vivid to you, and it hurts your dreams, it hurts your soul, I would say. When you close your eyelids, you see the images, you see the pain that's there. And I can relate to you. You're not alone in this, right? You're not alone in this. And it's a part of it all. And I think the first solution to any issue like that, which I will say, it can be an issue, right? If you get stuck with it. But the first solution to this is to actually realize it. And the way we realize it is that we realize that it's a superpower instead of just a curse that's put upon us. Sometimes you will find that these thoughts, these painful things, they come up more often than others. And a lot of those times it's due to inaction. Inaction is a big cause of these thoughts that plague us. And also stuff that we might regret, stuff like that, of course that plagues us. But I made a different video on this, not to digress, but consequences and regret are a sign of a good moral compass. People who don't regret stuff, people who have no shame about anything, are complete psychopaths. So the fact that you're feeling pain associated with shame and guilt from the past about stuff shows that you're not a complete psycho. Congratulations, right? Ted Bundy. I don't know why I just said that, but anyways. So that's something, right? Pain and the stuff that's associated with that. But I want to bring it back to the special forces training that I went through, right? And maybe I should have told you this when I was explaining to you why I know of this stuff. But let me give you a scenario why the condition, or not condition, fuck that word, alright? I should do 10 push-ups now, but I'll do it, okay? 10 push-ups. 4, 5, 6. It's something else I learned in my special forces training military. Physical punishment. Very effective for conditioning the mind. Now, when we were doing our special forces training, right, we did something called a, what is it called? Not a deep dive, not a dry dive, but anyways, before you go and do attack swimming, right, or attack diving, where you and your buddy, or more people, you can be more, you just chain together on a big link, right? The main guy, or navigator, he has a compass right here, which he swims with, and he paddles with his leg. And they have a timer, and they go in a certain direction for a certain amount of time, underwater. No lights, no nothing, it's just time, and you look at your compass. Complete darkness, middle of the night. It's amazing, okay? Super fun, but the thing is, you can't talk, right? You can't talk underwater. Hi, Nico? Man of the year, right? They should put me in the Time magazine instead of Trump, right? Genius idea, give me a Nobel Peace Prize. You can't talk underwater, or at least not in the way you do attack diving. But anyways, you have to think through the entire dive before, with your diving partner, before the dive even starts. Everything has to be memorized. Every single course of action, like I said, with the with the different exfiltration and all this stuff, right? It has to be remembered. And so once you do that too many times, hey, now your mind is thinking, huh? It's thinking. But the beautiful thing about this is that the remedy is in the problem itself. Just like that, if that makes sense. I will give you guys the tools for how you can solve this. Actually, first I will tell you about this too. When you have like, because this actually goes into like the remedy and how you're actually going to solve this. So you do hostage rescue, right? We train for hostage rescue, and we train for deliberate clearing of houses, stuff like that. When you walk in all sneaky peeky. Maybe you guys seen the movie, what's it called? Zero Dark 30, when they raid the Osama bin Laden raid. That's a deliberate clearing, when they go in all stealthy, like this, and they just wait. You just wait for them. And you peek, pop, 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 pop. He's dead. Alright, check. Alright, go good, right? All stealthy, that's deliberate clearing. Now the flashbang in and run and go, that's hostage rescue, right? Because you need to be quicker. You need to be quicker than the enemy to the hostage before they pop them, right? So you can pop them before they pop the hostage. Well, really simple. But for this stuff, right? You can't be thinking about where you're pointing your gun. You can't be thinking about this. And this is something I struggle with. Because I'm someone who thinks too much. I think way too much. And I had that issue when we were training. I would get stuck up on these details, like there, which just happens, you know. It's not just me. It's like, it happens to everyone. Some more than others. I was one of them, which is fair. It's, I got through it, the CQB section. It was, a win for me, right? But I got very stuck up on, okay, I need to do this and this and that, and I can only focus on one thing at the same time. So I had to train myself on being able to take in all these impressions, because you can't focus on one single thing like that. Not when when the chaos is going down. So this is another reason why this is so superpower, because you can realize that, okay, this guy behind me or this group behind me, they're going into this room. I vision this when I'm saying this right now. I know that this is going into that room. I know if I hold this corner, they're going on down there. I might, they might go around and I might end up aiming at them. And so I'm gonna already start calling now that, okay, they're going around there. I'm gonna start talking about how it could be linking up, and we need to deconflict. Deconflict, so we don't end up shooting our own, right? Big thing, to deconflict. And so, with that example, right, we go into a real world scenario, and someone like you, who feels like they're thinking too much. The best way you can go about it is to eliminate as many like possible areas of how do I say this? Eliminate the possibility of weakness in areas where you can. And I'm going to tell you guys that the best way you can solve this is by getting in shape. Right? I know I talk a lot about this stuff. I know I'm a fitness coach. I can teach you how to do fitness versus the payment. That's kind of how I do my business nowadays, which is completely fair. I change lives. I helped the guy lose 49 pounds in 56 days, believe it or not. Right? I have a guide on it down there. You can go check that out on how to get in the best shape of your life in the least amount of time possible. But anyways, the best thing you can do is to get in the best shape of your life. And I'm going to tell you why. Because all these thoughts that you might have about low confidence, about weakness, all this stuff that plagues you, you don't need to think about that anymore. I don't have to think about, oh, am I in bad shape? I don't have to think about stuff because I look phenomenal, and so will you, right? If you click the link. And that is such a big deal when it comes to all these other thoughts that might cloud our mind, because at least we have this covered. One of the biggest things, we have at least that covered. We're not weak, we're strong, we can lift the weights, we can look good for the ladies, for the confidence, for the respect, for the status of it. And that makes such a difference, because now we don't have to focus on this, our gun, our weapon, which is a self. We don't have to get tunnel vision. We can focus with clarity on what's around us, and we can attack on our mission. You understand? Right. So that's just one thing. Another thing, another remedy for this, right? I hate saying that too, because it's not a remedy. Like, anyways, you guys know what I'm on about. I'm ruthless about what words I put in my mind. Me and my girlfriend were watching a movie just an hour ago, and some couple started arguing on the TV, and I'm like, babe, we turn this off now. I don't want to see people arguing. I hate that shit, right? We don't argue, and so we don't watch people argue. That's how it works. We don't let our minds be infiltrated by that bullshit, okay? So I want to tell you guys this too. Combat sports, guys, or any sport that requires more than just you, is such a great way for you to get out of the prison of your mind. All right? When you can't sit there and be stuck in your own mind when you have someone punching you in the head. And if you do, you'll wake up pretty fast, right? You'll probably get laser focused quite quick. Because if you think about this, think about that, all these bullshit scenarios that you made up in your mind, which is fair, it happens, which is why we're here on this video in the first place talking about this, that will go away. A little slap, and you're good again. Like, I've said this too many times. Guys, I don't know why organized sports is supposed to be a thing of the past after you finish high school or whatever school, I don't know. Organized sports have been around for like fucking centuries. And only now in the modern world are we in a place or time where once you suddenly grow up and you become a fucking investment banker, all skinny and, look or fat or whatever, you stop doing football with the boys, you stop, going out there and conquering, scoring goals and stuff. You start getting hit in the face and actually getting up when you fall down. We stop doing that in organized manner with people, conquering with people, right? And so when we do that, we're actually getting out of our own brains. We have to care for other people. We have to think of something bigger than ourselves. I will say this too, because at a smaller level, one of the biggest things that occur when you're thinking a lot about this and that and this, especially if the thoughts about yourself, the best thing you can do is to go and do something for someone else. If you live with your mom, go and do the dishes. If you live with your whatever, right? For your girlfriend, go do something for her. Help her with this, help her with that. Help your friend move in, help him move a couch. Be around other people. Don't, guys, the worst thing you can do is just sit in a dark room, put your hoodie on, and just think. Think, right? I've been in that situation in the past. It doesn't serve you any good. Sitting down and thinking, and thinking that you're solving a problem when all you're going to do is getting stuck in a loop. A loop of all these scenarios that you don't know, that aren't even real, and that doesn't even require a solution. because it's not real. It's just in your mind. It's just, figments of your imagination. You understand? And so, I will tell you this, to finish off, that all these remedies are a way that we solve the torment of our own mind. Because when you're someone who thinks this way, you realize that, and this goes back to the point about physical fitness too, right? Is that if everything came down to it, if everything around us burned up right now, if the whole world is on fire, then we, as someone who thinks like this, can realize, and we can actually look at the scenario and think how that would happen, right? We can envision a nuke going out, and we can think that, okay, everything's over now. But we can see that if everything burned out now, and we had our bodies, we had our minds, we'd be okay. And so it shows the value of that. Because it's so important to solve this. But it's not really an issue, if you get what I'm saying. But it torments our minds if we get stuck in the same loop of thinking. When we see all these possible scenarios happening that torments our souls, then we need to simplify. We need to focus on simplicity of action, right? Whether that be towards a goal or someone else, but at least not something that's keeping us in that loop of thoughts. All right? I hope that helped you guys. I sincerely do, because this is not a good thing to be stuck in this loop of, and especially not if you're thinking that you're patient of this. But yeah, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Check the link below. Take care, and God bless.